Welcome! In this video, we'll look at some of the things you might first do when you're first handed a new WeBWorK course. I'd like to point out that the title of this course is New Course, and the course ID is New-Course up in the address bar. Use your login credentials to log in, and the first thing you might decide is if you want to retitle the course. If so, you can visit Course Configuration, and you could rename this whatever you'd like to rename it as, and then save. Now when I visit assignments on the main landing page, the title is My New Course. Notice that this changes the title, but this does not change the address to the course up there. It's still got ID New-Course. The next thing you might want to change is some of your personal user settings. If you visit Account Settings, here's a place where you could change your password, change your email address. You could also change some of the display settings for how math and other content is displayed for you. But these are things that only affect you as a user, not the entire class. We'll go back to the assignments area, and everything above this line here is settings or menu items that you have access to, and your students also have access to a version of those. Below are tools that are only available to you as an instructor. The next thing you might want to change is this course info panel here. The one that you see on the screen right now says put information about your course here. Click the edit button above to add your own message. This is a default that you would have if you've never edited course info before. And if you leave that default in place, then there actually is no course info panel for students. They would just see an empty blank right there. If you'd like to put some information in this panel describing your course, introducing yourself to students, etc., you can click to edit. And you could type whatever messages you'd like to type. You could just type plain paragraphs, or you could use HTML syntax, like where you use a P for marking up a paragraph. You use a table tag or a image tag if you'd like to put imagery in there. If you'd like to learn more about HTML markup, if you do not already know HTML, then visit Google to learn all about that. I'm going to save this, and when I return to the main assignments page, I see everything that I had given before. Next thing I will draw your attention to is the course configuration menu. You want to visit that and run through all of the tabs and look through all of the configuration options that are available to you. They all should have a little information panel that tells you what that item is all about. And you can read that information panel before you make a decision to change anything. Some of the configuration options I would point out are this one about theme. The Math 4 theme is the basic blue theme, but you could have a basic green, red, yellow theme if you'd like instead. There's one here controlling how many seconds it takes before a student is logged out if they're not being active during all that time. In optional modules, you have control over extra features that WeBWorK offers, like achievements. These are rewards a student gets for completing their homework. Things like conditionally releasing assignments, depending on how well a student does on some other assignment. Reduced scoring is a feature where there's sort of a due date for students to get 100%, but then a window of time after that where they can still turn in for credit, but they only get some smaller amount of credit. Show Me Another is a feature you can control here. That's for letting students see new re-randomized versions of problems. Periodic re-randomization. This is a feature where maybe a student gets it wrong 5 times in a row, then they're automatically going to get the problem re-randomized. Other tabs, you have permissions. This is a list of things that can or cannot be done by different users, and you can control what level of user can do those things. One I would draw your attention to is who's allowed to change their own email address. If you allow students to change their own email address, then if they move to a non-institutional email address, you may have some FERPA violation issues to think about. Problem display and answer checking has controls for how math and other content gets displayed, how the answers get checked. The one thing I would draw your attention to is student answer entry process assistance. So when a user is typing in an answer, if you're using MathQuill, then the math is going to automatically get formatted to look like nice mathematics. You could turn that off altogether, and then the users would have to type like they would type into a very old calculator, or you could use MathView, which is an older tool for entry assistance. There's an email tab where you can change some settings. This applies to how you, as the instructor, use the email feature over here in the menu. And the last tab is for how WeBWorK will interact with your LMS. That concludes this video.